Hi, I'm Kim Nagle, keynote speaker, business coach, and author of The Damn Plan: How to Find Freedom, Love, and Money in Your Business. I've been serving entrepreneurs for 30 years, guiding them through the process of creating their own damn plan and then coaching them as they work their damn plan to start and grow profitable businesses that they love. I've learned over these years that we all have a story to share and that our stories can be someone else's guidebook. I know that the best way we can learn is by listening to, networking with, and learning from other successful entrepreneurs. So today, I'm going to introduce to you and interview one of my favorite market planning experts, Shelly Ontis. Shelly is the owner of Elegant Designs. She's a graphic designer and she started this business in 1997 and has been loving her job every day since. She works with other entrepreneurs to help them build their brand and do more of what they love. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and give yourself a break. Fuel up. You deserve it. Welcome, Shelly. This is just such an honor. I've gotten to know you over the past couple of years. Met you first at the North Dakota Women's Business Summit, and since then, I've grown to really appreciate the work you do. So welcome. Can you start out by just sharing your entrepreneurial journey with us? Tell us where it started, why you got there, and just fill us in.
Sure. Yeah. I always love to talk about business. So let's definitely jump right in. Mine was kind of an accidental entrepreneurship. It started in 97 and I was working in an agency part for a furniture store for about 30 days. And then they came in and said, you don't have a job anymore. Oh, sorry. So I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? And didn't didn't want to go back to the industry that my previous job was because I just wanted to do design work for people in graphic design. So I jumped into that and I was already starting to do some freelance here and there for some other clients from my previous job that had followed me and did a ton of interviews, couldn't find anything that resonated and just kind of kept fighting entrepreneurship for probably a year and then accepted this was it, gave it a name one day. Felt like I needed business cards and we were going to an in-person networking event. And that's kind of how it fell into my lap. And that was, in 97 as we're filming this, that was 23 years ago. So got married, had two kids and brought them with, and it was great. I fit it around, that part of my life. And
Mhm.
then now that the kids are grown, I have one in college and one almost, she's applying for colleges right now as we speak. And it's definitely different now than it was when I started. We have I've moved into the online space. I've taken my um, creative love for crafting, you can see from behind me, and turned that into at first it was just an outlet. I was designing files, sharing them with my girlfriends, and then we would cut them on the Cricuts and silhouettes and those kind of things. And it's it really wasn't going to be a job, but it was and then I realized it could be a job. And I was on Pinterest and I had just got divorced and I was sitting there with nothing to do one night, scrolling on Pinterest like we always do and found a pin that said, oh, make, residual income while you sleep. And I'm like, well, I could handle that. So taught myself WordPress, opened the online space, and then really fell in love with the branding and the marketing that I was doing before and how it it's the difference between somebody's business online that's just sitting there and then theirs that is really growing or standing out in a saturated market. And when you start to go into the online space and you start to type in, I'm making digital files for crafters, all of your competition show up because of the algorithms. You feel overwhelmed and you feel like you can't stand out. And that's why I love taking, the place I was at and seeing how I could grow and have that second income. And then also there's tons of other women out there who are in the same situation or they just want to contribute a little bit or take a family vacation and they're doing all this stuff anyway and people are trying to buy it from them, so how can they use their designs or their crafting skills and then add a little bit of marketing to it and really stand out to make it worth their while.
So you essentially took something that many of us just do in our spare time and you turned it into a business.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time when you were discontented because you had turned something you love to do into a business and now it's work?
There was a point where it felt too much like work,
Mhm.
and then realized everybody that was also, cutting out vinyl and making t-shirts for other people and stuff were reaching out saying, how do you do this? Or how did you get this to grow? And how did you do that to grow? And it was, and both of them are my hobbies as well. So I always joke when I retire, I don't know, maybe just won't be getting paid anymore because everything that I'm doing for fun is also my hobby. So it kind of all goes together. I don't know. Anyway, so it was it it allowed me to do more of the crafting for fun. I do the projects, we put them on the blog, and I hang them up in my home. Or sometimes it's things I don't use, I can sell them, or donate them somewhere. But for the most part, it didn't bother me, no, but it definitely was a part that let me lean into helping people instead of making products to sell. And I think it was also, I always say entrepreneurship is 90% head game. If
Oh,
you don't think you can help somebody else get further in their business, you're not going to. If
right.
you don't think your product is that great and you don't think people are going to buy it, they're probably not. The more you are, if you show up with confidence and you understand what you're doing and understand what you're providing, or solutions your problem or your problems you're solving, solutions you're providing, it's it will help grow your business for sure. It's definitely a mindset.
How did you really flip the trigger to say, "I believe," or did you always believe that
Um,
what
I
you do is valuable?
I think you always have that doubt,
Okay.
and I think just putting yourself in that headspace where you accept it and that's going to come in, but that's not the things that are going to move me forward.
Mm.
It's kind of like on the same situation when you go to post something on your social media and 3 hours later you're watching a baby giraffe being born and you still haven't connected and answered those DMs and you know so you just have to get yourself in that mindset too. And technology I think is a huge part of also what kind of stops us in our tracks and keeps us from moving forward. And I just got hung up on it and then decided that year it was everybody picks these fun words of the year. They're inspirational and they move us, help us move big
Right.
mountains. But I kind of went on a different route. And my word that year was failure.
Oh,
And because when you put things out and you do a blog post or you do a Facebook post, nobody likes it, nobody comments, nobody reads it, you think, oh, I failed and I'm backing off. But if you set out and you think, okay, this didn't work, now I'm going to move on to something. Now I just eliminated one thing out of the puzzle that it was in my head. Was it going to work? Was it going to, and maybe it didn't work, but then it, catapulted you to somewhere else. So that's is the difference between what keeps you in that spot and then helps you move past a lot of those roadblocks.
this is kind of like a superpower that you've just shared with us. This shift in mindset between failure and using failure as a word. I just might choose that next year. Can I borrow it?
You
Uh,
can you can have it. I'm done with it.
okay, you're done with it. Okay, because sometimes I do. I still get up in my head about putting something out there. But if I remember that I'm putting it out there because it is valuable, I'm not just throwing spaghetti at the wall. I've thought about this. I put it out there, but it might not resonate perfectly. So I need to step back and evaluate. And when I put together a plan and the direction it was taking me wasn't where I needed to go, that says, okay, go back and revisit, revisit, revisit. And that's a big part of planning in general. And this this interview, I wanted to have you here because we're talking about action planning a lot. We're talking about taking action, and everything you've just said really leads into the idea of taking action and acting consistently regardless. So
Even
I
when
would
you're afraid
love
to fail.
for you to share a little bit about how you work in that action planning, that market planning sphere. I know I just ordered it. I have a copy of your book. I am loving this planner. And actually, because my daughter is my market planner, this is a gift for her to really work on. She's excited to get it. So we'll be together here very shortly, and I'm going to hand it off to her because she's our market planner. So
Great.
tell us, I've got it in my little hands here, but tell us about the market planner and how people can use it. It's
Great.
a fabulous tool.
the story. Thanks for saying that. I love it. I was just talking to somebody this last week and she said, it's my business Bible. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of pressure, but I love that. So I originally, as I was telling you guys at the beginning of the story, I started out with the graphic design business and then the online creative community that I have behind me. And I woke up one day with starting, when ads first started on Facebook, and I woke up the next morning thinking, I'm really great on this, the other side of the camera. I'm taking the pictures, I'm doing the brochures and, putting stuff together for websites for people. And I'm always on the other end of the camera. I'm not looking into it, and there's no way I'm going to be on that side. But I kind of put some stuff out, and I can drop some files and drop some pictures of things I've created, and nobody's really going to listen. But I'll just put it all out there. We'll see what happens from that Pinterest pin I found. Right? Woke up the next morning with $1 a day ad, and I had 800 new likes. Gosh, Shelly said a very bad word, shut off the ad, and I was like, nope, nope. Holy fear took over everything I had. And then it was probably about 48 hours later, I was like, I might be onto something. So I am a learner, but I'm a slow learner. It's like, wait a minute, when I use that marketing and I use that branding and I put it all together and talk to my ideal customer, people responded. So then I leaned into it, did some more things. Still doing the graphic design on the side for the local clients and stuff I've been doing for the last 20 years. And all of a sudden it was like, you know what? I am a hot mess. Because then you get all these ideas and what do you do with it? And literally you're a hot mess. And you start posting and you start, going live and talking about content. People tell you to post 4 times a day and go live every week and do a new blog post and blah, 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 blah. And then one day I'm scrolling through Facebook. One of my posts shows up. About 2 hours later, I'm on there again. And another post shows up with like the same thing, but a new time. And I'm like, so I go back and look. Here I had posted the same thing twice on the same day because I had no way to organize everything that I was doing. And that's how the Entrepreneur Planner was born. So what it does, a lot of times we go down that route where we're told you have to post and you have to do new content and, make a new YouTube video and do a TikTok and do a story, whatever else you're doing to market your business. But if you're not taking them on a strategic plan through all these posts and through all this content, chances are your customers confused on where to go and you're not making the sales you want. So what we do is we have the monthly view. This is the monthly view in the planner. They're dated. So they are timely every year because I do not have the attention span to write out 365 numbers. And as an entrepreneur, we have a lot of other things we should be doing. But I use this view not to schedule appointments and stuff. I will put like conversations like you and I are having, marketing things on here. So I make sure I don't have too much going on that I don't have time to get work done. But I will also put every Wednesday we do blog posts at the DIY website. I don't do really too much blogging for branding and marketing customers. That area of my business seems to be okay. So I've really leaned into the creative space. So we do a blog post every week. We do a new file every week for them. And then we do a fun Friday freebie where they can go to the website and grab our featured file for free that day. But all of that needs planning. So when you start to have that journey you're taking them on, it helps it literally takes them on a journey instead of here's something new.
Yeah.
They don't know what you want to do with it. But a lot of times, the old saying with marketing is you have to show somebody something 14 times before it really resonates. And that's why we do billboards. And,
Right.
Back when I started, campaign ads were all the same. You developed 3 or 4 ads and you ran those for 3 or 4 months on TV and newsprint and whatever. So the same thing needs to be true on the online space because it's even busier than say the billboard or the newspaper ads back then. So that's why when you have one piece of content and you're using it throughout the week or throughout the month, it's really going to help you with the overwhelm and it's going to take your customer on that journey so that they really start to resonate your brand and understand your brand. And that's what the planner does. So we have some spots here where you can track this. You probably can't see it on there, but this is right here where you do your stats. So as you're going through this process and you're creating content and putting things out into the world, you want to make sure that what you're doing, you go back and look. And this year, my word is actually facts or data.
I love it.
So I'm done with making those emotional decisions. Like, I don't want to go live this week because my gray hairs are showing.
Oh.
Or COVID-19, which means the 19 pounds that we all gained during quarantine.
Oh.
So it's
Like a freshman 20.
right, exactly. But this is for adults. I don't know, where can I unsubscribe, right?
Right.
So on that same line, that's, go back and think of the things that you've done for your business and why you didn't do the big things. Chances are it's got something to do with things that aren't true facts. Like, I don't know how to put that product on my website. So here I am not putting that new product on my website. Instead of just going out there, put it in your schedule that I'm going to research how to do that. I don't have an email list. So I'm going to put it in my planner that by March 1st, I'm going to have an email list implemented in my business. And that means I'm going to have it started. I'm going to at least know what I'm going to do to start that email list. However your business plan looks. A lot of times those things we are just not doing because of the emotional connection. And the planner helps you lay that all out with facts, with a plan, with, it removes so much overwhelm. I don't know what to go live about, so I'm not going to go live. But if you sit down on that monthly view, which I sit down with myself, I usually go out of my office so I can concentrate. And I write topics on, we do Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I write topics on here, and it doesn't mean that I do that topic 100% of the time. Sometimes it gets tweaked, moved, but then that just gives me new content for next month I've already come up with. And that's what these check boxes here are for, is they give you, like plan your blog posts, plan your lives, talk about your email campaigns, those kind of things. Make sure you do your billing and accounting, which as a creative brain, I would probably rather go clean my bathroom than do the accounts for my business. I'm not gonna lie.
I like that you have that on there from my numbers brain. I'm loving that. But
yeah,
I love the idea of the stats.
It's so important because it's what makes it feel like we had talked about in a hobby or a business.
Right.
So it definitely has to be part of what drives you. And even though you hate doing lives, if you go back and look after 3 months of doing them every week, you'll be amazed at how much more traffic you get to your website, how many more, and that is going to equal sales on your products or your services.
And I think that's an important point about planning in general, is the idea of consistency. And it's not a flash in the pan. It's like, oh, I did that once and it didn't work. It's
right. It takes about 3 months in the online space.
And again. But I really want to, for our listeners, I really want to reinforce the idea that of two things you've said in this process is about really getting to know your customers and the words they use. The words they use, how they talk about this, what are their pain points, listening to them so that you can get to that ideal customer. And then you're talking right to them and they're going, oh, she knows me. This is cool. I like Shelly because she knows what I'm feeling right now. Isn't that what we all want to feel? We want to feel heard.
Yeah, it's definitely what can move your business. And, we had talked about the know, like, and trust, and sometimes just talking to their pain points, just talking about that problem they have and the solution you have. I joined a huge mastermind, did not know the lady, but she talked to those pain points and I jumped in. Never would have thought I'd spent that on a business coaching, and there it was. So it's finding that message that your customer's looking for and making sure you're talking in that language. And so many times, like you said, we're using those words that, we think they understand and they don't.
Right.
And it can make a huge difference in your messaging, in your emailing, in your posting, and calls, if you're doing calls with people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you can hear that in their responses or lack of responses in social media. You can hear it in conversations that you have. But what are some other ways we can figure out what people are thinking? Because that's the sweet spot of marketing and market planning, is really getting to know what people think.
Yeah, I would say before I put out my course last time, I called 6, set up calls and said, can we just walk through your branding, walk through what you feel about it, and I will give you, they got a discount on my course, but then I said, I will just give you any of the coaching and stuff that I can think of while we're going through the conversation, and recorded it. And then I went back and I didn't watch it. I just listened to it.
Right.
And I heard, I was using a certain terminology and they were using different terminology, and it meant the same thing. And then I switched it up and used some of their words in my own marketing. And it was because I knew what it meant and I knew how to get there, but they were still here. but I was talking like we were all here. So I just had to talk in a different, not talk down or, just at a different level.
Well, and we have to be able to re-articulate what it means to them. It's not what it means to us; it's what it means to them. And I'm glad. I'm glad you mentioned the calling six people and just actually listening. Because when I teach market research and when I teach help people design their businesses, I I said you could go through all sorts of market research, but there is none better than talking to your existing clients or your customers or your potential customers. There's nothing better. As we wrap up, your market planner is really not just about market planning. It's really about creating those strategies. It's not just about social media, I meant, but it's about creating a whole market strategy that guides people on that, takes them on your business journey with, takes
Great.
them along, brings them in, shows them what to do next, all of that. But what is the hardest part about getting all of this done?
I think I'm seeing for people that they feel like they're not a marketing expert, so then they do nothing.
Oh,
But and that's part of the good thing about the planner too, is that it puts all the prompts in there, all the questions that if you hired a marketing guru, they would have to ask you. So
right?
it puts those in there, it takes it out of your brain space, and then it's laid out in a way that organizes to take you through the month, take you through the year, take you through the day, whatever it might be, that helps you get to that goal.
What's one thing you wish you would have done in the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey that, what do you wish you would have done differently? Because sometimes when people hear that, it inspires them to go, okay, I'm not going to do that.
Great. I think the first thing I needed to get past, even just from the stories I've told, was that mindset.
Mhm.
Is, be okay with it not working the first time and knowing that entrepreneurship is finding how it's going to go. And then as you start to listen to all these different coaches out there and the advice they're giving, it kind of took me down that path. Well, they did this and it worked. So I'm going to do that as they did it. And I forgot sometimes to trust my own entrepreneurial brain. And, like the one that stands out is you need to have 7 streams of income out there and, or 5 streams of income. And that's great. But if you don't take time to build up one before you add two, before you add three, you're going to make yourself poo-poo pants because it's when you're doing everything. And then now I'm going to add 3 avenues I got to go in. Having the 2 different avenues I've had my business, and adding 3 or 4, it definitely can resonate with how that it can slow your growth down.
It can. It can.
Yeah.
A great deal.
But that was more than one, but
I really like that. In because there's so much. When I first started business, there wasn't as much information out there.
right. Yeah, me
So I
too.
made all my mistakes just without even listening to anyone, and that was my biggest mistake. But I think now we're being bombarded with here's the right way. If you want to make $1 million, do this, and if you want to do this, and it's confusing. And I love the fact that you said you had to learn to trust in
Right.
yourself, trust your own feelings, listen, learn all of those things, but eventually you do have to trust.
Yourself, right. And your customers are probably trusting you more than you are right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I just thank you so much, Shelly, for joining me in this interview with the pros, and you are truly a market planning pro, and you're
Okay.
just the production of the book, the market planner for entrepreneurs, and I love the create your own success. You're in charge of it,
Mhm.
uh, and you just the short time that I've known you, I've just really appreciated getting to know everything. There's not everything yet about your entrepreneurial journey, but tell us now where we can find you and your work and where we can get our own market planner.
Sure. So you can find it at shellyantis.com, and then there's a planner tab on there. If you're creative, if you're the DIYer, there's lots of, if you have a creative business, there's lots of business tips over at wecanmakeback.me. And then you can both of those and do slash planner, and you'll find the planner for sure. There's tabs everywhere. And if you're on Instagram, I'm at iDesign by Shelly. And Shelly is Chelly.
I love that your name is Chelly. It is
Thank
as unique and as beautiful as you are. And
oh,
I thank
you.
again for being part of this and inspiring all of us to do better every day, and to look at our fears differently, and to listen more, and just simply to take action. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much. I had fun chatting.